Escherichia coli, abbreviated as E. coli, is a bacteria that normally lives in the intestines of animals and humans. They are for the most part safe and really are a necessary part of a sound human intestinal tract. Be that as it may, some E. coli are pathogenic, which means they can bring about disease, like diarrhea or an ailment outside of the intestinal tract. The sorts of E. coli that can bring about looseness of the bowels can be transmitted through polluted water or food, or through contact with creatures or people. Recently, there have been several studies that have confirmed the transmission of E. coli through the air. In one study, first author Elaine D. of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Meat Animal Research Center and her colleagues found contaminated leafy greens growing in 9 plots adjacent and downwind from cattle feedlots over a 2-year period. Additionally, several studies have been conducted after major E. coli breakouts have occurred at state fairs, and the evidence suggests that the bacteria can travel on dust, condensation, and rat or roach feces. E. coli is most commonly found in cows, although chickens, deer, sheep, and pigs have also been known to carry it. Shiga toxins that are created by the bacteria are the culprit. Meat becomes contaminated during slaughter, when infected animals' intestines or feces come in contact with the carcass. Ground or mechanically tenderized meats are considered riskier than intake cuts of meat because E. coli bacteria can be mixed throughout the meat in the grinding process or during tenderization. Other foods that sometimes become contaminated with E. coli bacteria include unpasteurized milk and cheese, unpasteurized juices, alfalfa and radish sprouts, lettuce, spinach, and water. However, any food is at risk of becoming contaminated with E. coli through cross-contamination. One can also get E. coli bacteria from contact with feces of infected animals or people. E. coli indications change as the contamination advances. Side effects more often than not start 2 to 5 days after contamination. The underlying manifestations incorporate the sudden onset of issues and stomach torment, trailed by loose bowels inside 24 hours. Looseness of the bowels will turn out to be progressively watery and afterward bloody. Individuals with E. coli contamination additionally frequently feel sickened and encounter cerebral pains. Less basic side effects incorporate fever and chills. To see how badly an outbreak like this can damage your business, one only needs to look as far as the outbreak that began in Chipotle in July of 2015. Ultimately, E. coli was found on 2 separate occasions in 2015, affecting 55 people in 11 states the first time, and 5 people in 3 states the second time. The effects on the business were so staggering, as CNN Money reported, that it caused a prolonged stock drop from a high of $749.12 on August 7, 2015, to $479.85 on December 31, 2015. Even in 2016, the stock has continued to drop as Chipotle works hard to regain the public's trust. Premier's humidity and ethylene control disposable filters stop the spread of E. coli bacteria from one food to another, which is known as cross-contamination, through the air, along with many other kinds of spore-driven bacteria, as evidenced by the 87% reduction in bacteria spores in the 2008 Department of Defense study. Employing our filters will reduce the risk of spreading airborne spore bacteria and mold in your walk-in coolers and give you another critical layer of protection.